If you want to do anything meaningful with your life, create systems. Systems get you moving. The problem for those of us who are avoiding the process of creating systems is that we're sort of leaving it up to possibility. We're just leaving it up to chance in order for us to actually achieve our goals. And when we do that, we're a lot more prone to self-sabotage, self-doubt, just feeling insecure about where we're at in life. We're also prone to our feelings making the call. So if we're, not necessarily creating systems for the gym, then the day that comes where you're like, oh man, I don't really feel like going to the gym today, chances are you're not going to go to the gym. Whenever I first started going to the gym, I first found out about bro splits. Basically, it's when you hit chest and tries on Monday, then you hit back and buys on the next day, then you hit legs the next day, and you just split up these different muscle groups so that you know what you're going to hit that day, and you can optimize for those specific muscle groups. In high school, one of the systems that I had that really helped me make a lot of progress is I would get out of school, I would ride the bus home, I would get home, and I would take the pizza rolls out of the freezer, put 16 of them inside of a plate, not inside, but on a plate, because it was the only amount of pizza rolls that would actually fit on the paper plate. And then I would play video games, and that helped me reach certain levels inside of Call of Duty. Clearly, I'm making a joke. But the point is when you have a step-by-step process to do one thing after the other, and you don't necessarily have to think about what that next thing is, or at least the goal is to get to the point where you write a script, then you film the next day, then you edit the next day, you proof check it the next day, and then you publish. There's a step-by-step process for any sort of goal that you're wanting to achieve in your life. So the question is, why don't we set aside time to create systems? Well, because you might not know where to start. So in this video, I'm going to share a little bit of my experience with systems, how they've helped me, and hopefully it can help you as well. So systems, where do you start? Well, it's very important to ask yourself, what is the goal? What are we aiming towards? Because if we don't aim for a target, you'll never hit the target. And work your way backwards. So the gym is always a great example. I want to gain 10 pounds of muscle by the end of the summer, right? This was a goal of mine, I think in 2014 when I first started working out. And there were a lot of things at play for those systems. It wasn't just a matter of going to the gym. It wasn't just a matter of diet. It wasn't just a matter of mindset. It was all of these different things, habits, how I'm spending my days. What am I doing outside of the gym to make sure that I'm resting well, preparing myself for the next day so that I can stay consistent. So of course, the first thing that you want to do a self-audit. You should always start by just asking yourself where you're at now. So that could be, what does my daily routine look like? How am I spending my time? What relationships do I have? Are they sucking energy out of me, or are they adding energy? Then what you do is you start to make small tweaks in areas that you know for a fact will increase the outcome, or at least the chances of the outcome or the goal that you're aiming for. Ask yourself how you're spending your time right now and where you can adjust your time differently. You can't gain the awareness on what to do differently unless you know exactly where you're at now. The next thing you want to do is to actually create the system. I use Notion for this. Now, Notion, if you haven't heard of it yet, is probably one of the most powerful platforms that's available to the public, because you can get a free subscription or access to the application, and it can actually change your life. If you're anything like me, I need a lot of structure, and I need to be able to dump my ideas somewhere in a place that has a structure, a system, or just a sense of organization, because my mind is not organized whatsoever. So Notion sort of helps me take care of that. Now, when you're creating systems, you're forced to ask yourself, do I care about this thing enough to create a system for it? Because it is going to take time and energy to just simply make the system. Now it's just a matter of putting the pieces together. So use a program like Notion, and if you'd like me to create a video going deeper on my process with Notion, let me know. I would love to create a video, but I challenge you to just go download Notion and to see the templates that they have to offer and just get started. They have habit trackers. They have different ways to organize your daily routine. The list goes on, and I'm going to waste my time if I even try to explain all the things Notion has to offer. Now it's a matter of actually committing to this process, because it's one thing to create the system. It's a whole other thing to actually fucking stick to it. So how are you going to stick to this system? What is it going to take? Is there a mantra that you can keep in mind? Is it something that you need to create some pain around? Because we have the tendency to run away from pain more than we do towards running towards pleasure. Let me repeat that again because I've messed that up. We run away from pain faster than we run towards pleasure. So ask yourself, for me personally, the pain was feeling stuck. I felt stuck before I created systems. I felt absolutely terrible, just feeling like my life was meaningless. I felt like I couldn't do anything with my time, meaningful things with my time. I felt like my effort was not valuable, and I just didn't have the potential to do anything. And that feeling sucked. It was the worst feeling that I had ever experienced in my life. So what's that feeling for you? Because we all have feelings, and the thing is, we can use those bad feelings to our advantage. That can keep us motivated. That can keep us consistent. That can remind us why we need to stick to the system that we're creating for ourselves. If we don't create these systems, we're going to allow the monkey mind to take over. The monkey mind is going to be like, nah, we don't feel like doing that today. Let's just watch Netflix instead. Let's play video games. Let's play a little bit of Rocket League and, soccer with cars instead of going to the gym. And that's just not a healthy way to live your life. Unless you're planning on going pro, then by all means go for it. But if you're wanting to, if you're wanting to build a nice physique, if you're wanting to gain muscle, maybe you're wanting to cut fat, lose weight, keep in mind that feeling of feeling stuck or whatever it is that you thought of. The pain that you can keep in mind is always useful if you look at it the right way. Now keep in mind that when you do the simple things well, you'll execute the complex things well, or at least you'll increase your chances of hitting those complex things well. And this applies in your daily life. So the more that you're consistent with your systems, the more that you show up for yourself, and the more that you hone in on self-discipline, the more likely you are able to achieve the harder things in life. When you have that difficult project come at your desk or your table, now you're prepared for it, because if you can hone in on the systems that you have for yourself every single day, then why couldn't you challenge this project? In my past, whenever I was feeling, a lot of self-doubt, I felt like anything that came to my table was just impossible to do. Like, it was just going to be really difficult for me. And that's because I was just having low self-confidence. And the quickest way to gain confidence is to keep the promises to yourself. And it starts with the small things, not the big things. It starts with the systems, not these once in a quarter projects that when you do the harder things today and you're harder on yourself, everything else gets a little bit easier. It doesn't become fully easy, but it helps you execute those things with confidence, which helps you produce better work, which helps you make a bigger impact in the world, which helps you design a better lifestyle. It all starts with the systems and your commitment to yourself, your promises, and the dedication and discipline. I know it's not sexy to hear that, but that is how you gain freedom in your life. It is not through eating as many Cheetos as you want. It's not through watching as many Netflix shows as you want. Yes, that might feel like freedom in the moment, but how many times have you done that and then reflected on all those hours you just spent playing video games and feeling like nothing happened, and now your dopamine is sucked out of you? You don't even feel like recording a podcast or practicing a new hobby. Be mindful of the way that you spend your time, the way that you spread out your dopamine, and the way that you make decisions, because ultimately it adds up to the lifestyle that you're truly wanting to create for yourself. By the way, is any of this helping you? If so, please let me know in the comments, because I want to know what is helping you guys, what is not. So do me a favor, let me know in the comments, and yeah, let's get back to it. Now, systems can be applied to any category of your life. It doesn't have to necessarily just be about business or your job or the gym. Systems give you freedom. They give you your time back. I mentioned this earlier, but your ability to not think about what the next step is actually gives you your energy back. You only have a certain amount of energy in a day, and the more that you're thinking about what clothes to wear in the morning, or what to eat for breakfast, or what to hit at the gym today, or which podcast to listen to on your walk, it takes out just a little bit of energy. And you do that so many times over the lapse of your day. There's a reason why come 4 or 5 p.m. you just feel exhausted. This still happens to me, even though I'm preaching this whole systems thing. Perfection is not the point. It's the intention and the attention that matters. So in my life, there are times where I'm just constantly moving from thing to thing, from activity to activity. I get home from the gym, I shower and eat breakfast, and then I get straight to work, and then I don't take breaks, which I guess you could call this a system, like X, Y, Z. But I guess the point I'm getting at here is that a system I need to create for myself is to create small breaks in between these different steps, which I'm having an awakening moment here with you guys. So this is cool. We're both learning. Without the breaks, for me personally, I get extremely exhausted by 4 or 5 p.m. I'm wore out. I don't feel like doing anything. I start to get headaches. I feel exhausted. I feel like I could just fall asleep right there. And I don't think that this is necessarily healthy. I don't think I want to spend my life just working to death. Not necessarily working to death. This isn't some major ridiculous event, but there are times when I just get off work and I just feel I'm worthless. There's no point in me doing anything. And then I make bad decisions. I get lazy, which is fine. It's towards the evening. It's not like it's a huge deal. But I'd like to have the energy, as much energy as possible throughout the entire day. So a system I personally need to create for myself is to prioritize those small breaks in between, because I feel like if you spend your entire life just in this full systematic mode where you're doing X and then Y and then Z and there's no breaks in between, and you got to get straight to the next thing, it's all about productivity. I think that can be dangerous to a certain extent. Yeah, productivity is good, but only in moderation, right? At least in my opinion. I think that anything good can also get out of hand. And I think we should also be mindful of that as we approach this process. I guess the lesson here that I'm trying to paint is that while it is good to create a step-by-step process, and it will help you reach your goals, it will help you, meet the standards that you create for yourself, it is also important to practice stillness and to create that balance as you push towards your goal. Because we can burn out very easily, and it's just at what point is it worth it if we're just going to burn out all the time, if we're always going to feel burnt out by 5 p.m. every day? Set yourself up for success. That's really the goal here. Is we want to hit our goals, but we also want to set ourselves up for success, because we're human beings. We are not robots. We have to rest. We have to prioritize rest, which could also be a system in and of itself. But if we don't protect our energy, if we're not mindful of the things that suck our energy, like little old vampires, then we might be shooting ourselves in the foot, when really, it's why spend 5 hours in the gym every day? Unless you're Arnold Schwarzenegger, then why spend 5 hours in the gym every day and not sleep if your body actually depends on it? So the time away from your systems is equally as important and will actually benefit you in the long run, because we're in this for the long haul, right? Don't try to rush the process, because there's so much in between that we already have at our fingertips that we should be grateful for, that we should practice gratitude for. So while it's important to reach the goal and set the bar high, it's also equally important to make sure that you're appreciating your life, because tomorrow's never promised. So on that note, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I hope this served you in the best way possible. There is a free resource that I want to offer you if you need help creating systems. I've basically compiled all of my basic, I wouldn't say basic, but the systems that I've created for myself that have actually enhanced or improved my life, my lifestyle, my well-being, my sense of self-confidence. So if that's interesting to you, this freebie is called the Clarity Creator Systems by Design, and you can catch that straight in the description. And yeah, check it out if you want. You'll also be subscribed to my weekly newsletter where I help you on topics like this every single Saturday. But if you want to continue your growth journey, check out this podcast. I think you'll enjoy it, and I'll see you there.